Pin LD and West lit. Cali packing my spliff. Pick a side, I don't switch. Want a straight cash, no ticks. Go tell a friend to go tell a friend that I'm back on my shit. Ain't got no time for no chit chat. Keep it short and sweet like my.
What do you think about fashion at the moment? Do you think it's become quite extortionate? Do you think it's reasonable for someone of your age group?
To be honest,
19, 20, is it too pricey or is it about right?
I think it depends on the item, really. Because especially let's say brands like Louis Vuitton and that.
Yeah.
Bro, I think it depends on the item because the new pieces that they're releasing, high quality. Okay. But in terms of some of the designs, especially some of the new collabs, questionable. Okay. But obviously, it just depends what your taste is and what you really like, really. Especially me, I just grabbed these last week, new release. But I know they're going to be sold out within 6 to 10 months.
Okay.
You get me? So I'll definitely pay whatever the price is for that.
Makes
but
sense.
in terms of the other piece, questionable, but it depends what's your budget on that.
It's true. Do you think everything's hyped up a lot? Is it inflation, or do you think it's just stuff in general is just pricey, or?
It's true. I think I do, but that's just the price of the designer. It's always been like that. If you want to live luxury, you got to pay luxury.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
I feel like just generally live within your means, bro. Buy what you all looks fly. You get me?
100%.
Enjoyment's forever. There's no price on drip.
100%.
What are you saying, bro? You feeling as one of these?
Yeah, nice. Tom Ford do some nice pieces, definitely.
Yeah, I can see it on you still. What are you saying? What do you think you can't really afford right now? Because I know obviously you do all of this luxury stuff, but most things will be on your budget. What do you think is not on your budget?
You know what? Stuff like, I think watches,
Oh wow.
That's something I'm looking to invest in more in the new year. But I'd probably say that's something out of budget. For me, there's always a limit with how much I'm willing to spend on designer. This is probably £2,000 or even more.
Oh yeah.
Me personally, I'd rather put my money more into investments.
It makes sense. Thinking long term.
Thinking long term, yeah. That's what I'm always about. So yeah, I think watches is something that I.
Now I can imagine you on the watch store, a little Scadi on your wrist.
Something nice like an Audemars or even a Patek.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's probably something that I can't afford or can't afford to do right now, but I would want to do as time goes on.
Look, I think I need a holiday just so I can go get my mind right. Salmon teriyaki, I'm good
I didn't know what's that. So then I scrolled down. Okay. I thought, call me when you can, bro. Like, yeah, right.
Playing if I come alive in the night time, left the club hella drunk, that's more shots than a drive-by. And you ain't got
Mr. Reese Henry, the king of the south. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, man, and you?
I'm good, man. What's this winter's coming? I keep seeing you post.
Yeah, I keep on seeing you do it, bro.
What does it mean? Talk to us, bro. What does
that
mean?
It's like a two-parter. So the first part is obviously winter for estate agents is a very difficult time of the year, first and foremost, because it goes very, very quiet. If you haven't got stock ready for the new year, especially being self-employed, you're going to be at a point where you're pretty much frozen in a position where you don't earn enough money. And then people don't usually find confidence in the market until the new year. So even like end of January, February. So if you can imagine selling a house in February, not getting paid for the standard 12 weeks, which it normally takes for the transaction to go through, and then you're not going to get paid till like April, May. So if you haven't got stock ready and like ready to launch as such for the new year, you're going to be frozen. So when I keep saying winter's coming, that's one part of it. The second part is sellers. They are also in a similar position where if they've had properties that have been sitting on the market for 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever it may be, and they haven't got a plan of action for what they're going to do with their property, they're essentially going to be frozen in a position where no one wants to see their property over the period of time where people are normally thinking about Christmas, etc. And then when the new stock comes on, which normally in the new year people think about moving, it's going to be an oversaturated market, and they're going to be at the bottom of the pile where people aren't going to be thinking about their home. They're going to look at the newer stuff that's available. So they're going to be frozen in time as well. So when I say winter's coming, it's about hibernation, making sure you've got as much stock as possible. If you're a seller, you should be thinking, what's your plan of action for the new year? How are you going to get people getting eyes on your property? And realistically, if they want to, they should be, in contact with one of us, So yeah, tell me, what's your best purchase been this year?
Really and truly, I think it's a holiday, bro. Literally, man. Because obviously I've been a couple of countries this year.
Okay.
I feel like it's very, very pivotal in terms of improving my efficiency and just making sure that I'm always looking in from the outside, understanding what I'm doing good, what I'm doing bad, and how I can really improve and be the best person of myself.
How important do you think it is to recharge your batteries after working so hard, especially where you're doing your trainer sourcing, you're doing real estate?
I think it's very, 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 very important, especially when you don't really want to tire yourself out, especially at my young age. Like, I don't want to tire myself out so much and then not really appreciate life. Because at the end of the day, when I die, like I have to leave a legacy. You get me? It's not just working, earning all this money, then leave it to my kids and not really appreciating life myself. So I think it's very, very important. Recharge every now and then. Not too much, obviously. There's no price on enjoyment, but not too much, and just making sure there's a balance, really.
Yeah, of course.
Not true, bro.
That makes sense.
In comparison to most of your age groups, I see you're working in a different sort of career pathway.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel about that? What's your thoughts on it?
You know, it is, especially being, as like you know, black men from Southeast London, there's a lot of negative stereotypes that come with it.
Definitely.
I'm not afraid to say that in terms of making money, I've done it all. Some legal, some illegal, some legal. But I'm proud of the path I've had. I'm not gonna say I was the worst kind of criminal, whatever. And I've come from a humble background. Got both parents at home that love me dearly. But it's like now, as I grow up, I kind of, like I said, I want to leave a legacy behind. I know what's right and what's wrong. I've seen a lot of people take risks that may look good in the short run, but in the long run, it bears negative consequences. So like, I feel like I'm fortunate in a sense where I've got a lot of support. My friends, my family all support me in what I do, and I feel like one of my main aims for next year is to motivate people that are perhaps making money in a way that's not illegal,
and then change that sort of thing.
Exactly, to have a different outlet on life. Like, look at the nice car we're in.
Yeah,
look
true.
at some of the clothes we have, and it's all been done legally. That's I want to be that guy that's, if it's just one person that says, look, I'm gonna stop doing this, that because I saw Chris does it in a legal way. I'll be a happy man.
Definitely, that makes sense, bro. Really good.
What's in store for you, man, this year? Like 2025, where do you see yourself at the end, the middle? You know, what do you plan to do? What's next for Tommy and Chris?
In terms, I'll say obviously just a rough, in terms of comparison to all my businesses. I think definitely be more successful extending revenue across all my businesses and trying to actually make it a business and not so my personal brand. Because especially with my personal shopping service, I feel like a lot of people know it as me, as the brand, but I'm trying to get more people into it working for me, just so that I can actually focus on other avenues of income. And of course, like real estate, I just want to be a way better agent, try to sell at least minimum 10 properties next year, which I think is definitely possible. And yeah, I think even with the 22 Lux group, my personal team, I want to hold at least minimum 5 networking events, big conferences as well. Just get our name really, really established out there as well. What about you, Chris?
Me, I'm trying to take Reese's crown as King of the South.
Aren't we all?
No, one of my main aims is I want to be like a household name in Southeast London. I want people to go around and see the Tyrone Nash flag and see that, yeah, that's Chris that's done it. Especially around, like I said, my area, there's a lot of different estate agents. I want to be the dominant one in the Greenwich and Bexley borough. Reese, I know you've achieved a lot this year. What would you say were your top milestones you've reached this year, and what are the milestones you're looking to achieve next year?
I'd say definitely my biggest sell, that property I sold in Sunridge. That was, that took a lot of hard work and a lot of self-belief to get that sell through. So I definitely would say that's one of my biggest achievements. I've earned quite a bit this year, so that would be another achievement kind of tied in with that. And then just seeing where my money can kind of go as well. It's an inspiration to to be part of something bigger. Especially real estate, I feel like there's no limitation on how far you can take it. And what I've liked about this year especially is I've been able to see things that I never would have seen maybe in other industries that I've been in previously, but this one has definitely been an eye-opener, real estate for definite. I'd say for next year, as you man know, I've got a daughter on the way, so
congratulations.
Thank you. So there's challenges in itself where I've never had a daughter. I've always had sons. I've raised 2 boys.
Girl dad now.
So yeah, very different. Yeah, I'm gonna have to be a little bit softer. I can't do as much tough love as I normally would do. But yeah, I want to see how I become a girl dad as well. Other milestones being, again, like we discussed earlier, getting my first watch, having more properties under my belt, blue chip stock, more investments, finishing my house. I'm still renovating it. So yeah, there's a lot that I want to achieve. There's a few milestones that I can already see kind of encroaching, and that won't be too far away from the early part of 2025. But yeah, it's there's quite a few that I've got, but it's going to be nice for people to see it unfold as such, especially if they're following along on Insta and whatever not. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm a young Malcolm X, I'm a renegade. If you don't hear me when I speak, I have to demonstrate. Some call me demon child, others celebrate. I guess we'll find out the truth at them heaven gates.
Cool. Obviously, Tommy was talking about legacy earlier. Like, what does legacy mean for yourself? Like, how important is legacy for you?
I think it's just making sure that I leave a positive effect. And first of all, my background, where around the people that I'm from, and on top of it, just making sure all the work that I am doing, like, it's something that people will never remember. For example, in real estate, making sure I'm a positive emblem for people that maybe not get the similar opportunities that I did. Making sure that I just always create opportunity for other people and allowing them to progress no matter what sort of situation they're in.
Makes sense. Chris, legacy, what's it mean for you, man?
It means make sure it means something. So that once I go, I know life is very quick. You can forget you once you're gone, but at least if I leave a legacy, I know once my time is to go, that I'll remember to do positive things in this world.
Obviously, legacy's quite important for myself, with me being a role model for my kids. Other people that look up to me, obviously give me praise. So yeah, I think legacy is one of the most important things that people don't really factor into their day-to-day. Like, what are you actually going to leave behind when you're not here? What are people going to see you for? Remember you as. I think it's really important that people take it seriously and remember that, you know, life's not there for everybody, and tomorrow's not promised for nobody either. So I understand at the moment, Chris, you're working 2 jobs. So you're doing like real estate and another job. Like, how are you finding it at the moment? Like, what is it, a struggle or?
It is. It's a necessary sacrifice, I feel. Especially where I would have said at the beginning of my career, but it's something I want to do long term. But obviously, I know that in a commission-based career, there's sacrifice you're gonna make. So there'll be times where I don't make some money. That's the only reason I have a second job concern. Like, I've even been close to. I even turned down a full-time job elsewhere because there was a point where I did think, is this really for me? And then once you sit down and think about what you do in the long term, I'm not someone that can do a 9 to 5. That's the honest truth. I'll be real. That's when I really had to kick down and sit down and tell myself, like, this is the career I want to take part. So by the time, one of my aims for next year is that I'll be doing this full-time. I'll be making enough money to, replace the part-time job. Yeah, that's you yourself, you were doing 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I was doing like delivery work in between doing real estate. So I'd go from delivering a parcel at someone's house to booking an evaluation. Like, it was crazy, man. It was very difficult to balance the two, because you want to give your full undivided attention to the sellers, but at the same time I've got a mortgage to pay, I've got bills to pay, so I needed to keep the balance there. In fact, one time I was actually delivering and one of my sellers was coming out of a shop and I had to hide behind my van that I was delivering from so that she didn't see me, because it was embarrassing, because at the end of the day you're trying to outlive your dream or trying to live your dream, and they may not see it that way. As far as they're concerned, you're a luxury real estate agent, that's what you should be through and throughout. But for me, it was really about making sure that I had food on the table for my kids, for myself obviously, and at the same time trying to transition and come away from that. But I think it's when I went full-time into real estate, self-employed, really believed in myself, that it really took off, and obviously, the rest is history from there. So Tommy, similar, you're obviously working, round the clock for your clients, your trainer sourcing and whatever, as well as doing real estate. Like, how are you finding it at the moment?
In terms of managing my other businesses, I feel like it's definitely just a balance. Very, very important. Because with what I'm trying to do right now, I'm trying to make sure that I'm putting more energy into real estate so I can actually, enjoy the full sort of potential within it. And that just comes down to actually understanding my other businesses, understand how I can delegate stuff more as well. And I feel like I learned that as I grow older. It's actually me being young here and having multiple businesses. It's not really something that you hear a lot. So then when I'm trying to see what can I do to improve, first of all, is to understand that people don't really do this at my age, and that I've got space to grow and I've got years to grow. But just understand there's a little bit of a transition that has to happen for me to be able to elevate in real estate as well. But yeah, it's just a journey that I feel everybody needs to take, and we'll all do due diligence. Everybody's individual. Yeah.
Obviously, the other thing is as well, obviously, us a lot of work together quite a few times this year. how important do you think strength in numbers is? Because I know with a lot of self-employed agents, they're quite solo on their path. They want to work by themselves. They don't want to work with anybody else, or they want to kind of tread on somebody else to get to their position, kind of like lily padding them or bunny hopping them as such.
Yeah.
But how important do you think it is to work together as a unit to get to the end result?
It is. This world gets lonely, man. This world gets lonely. Sometimes you need a shoulder to cry, sometimes to lean on. And there's a lot of things we can learn from each other. But work-wise and outside of work. Like, we're all different ages, so we all we grew up at the same time but at different times. So there's strengths and weaknesses I take from Tommy being younger than me and Sophie being older than me. And hopefully I can give you 2 tips and aspects as well. That's what, especially like when we work together, it just shows that it's a kind of community kind of thing. And like I can say we can all just learn together and just from my aim, I want to grow individually and collectively. It's leave a lasting impact in this company.
By yourself?
I think you just got to start with a great saying: a smart man learns from his mistakes, and a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. You get me? So for me, I think it's more about just understanding that when you're working with someone else, there's stuff that you can learn that you wouldn't learn by yourself.
100%.
And on top of it, it's not just like, let's say me and Reese do a deal, me and Chris do a deal. I know in like, let's say a couple months time, Reese is going to return the favour. And that's just about appreciating the people around you and creating that sort of stronger circle. Because as much as people, like, especially the way we do it, but people are trying to replicate that outside, but they can't really do it the same way. So I feel like it's just about appreciating the people around you, and on top of it, I feel like you learn stuff, especially within business. Let's say I would be more open for Reese to take a big cut on something than just a random person. You get me? It's about just making sure the money stays within the family at the end of the day. So what about yourself?
For me personally, I've obviously loved working with both of you this year. I can see the growth within the two of you. I don't want to be greedy, you know. There's more than enough money to go around in real estate. There's more than enough teachings to be that had knowledge is power at the end of the day. The more you guys know, the more you can grow and we can learn from each other. Similar to what you said, you know, there's things that I'm starting to implement on social media, even like what we're doing now. You know, this is about more people being aware and reaching out to a wider audience. Something that you've taught me through the way that you advertise on TikTok. Obviously, Chris, I've learned a lot from yourself as well, just in terms of being more patient, dealing with different types of sellers, especially within South East London in particular. And I think, definitely learning from each other and implementing that in real estate is something that hasn't really been done by a lot of people, and I feel like that is a turning point for us, and a lot of people are starting to see that working as a unit, as a force, is definitely a lot more effective, and it definitely benefits everybody involved. So yeah.
Good stuff.
Now.